Thank you, Chair. Let's give a hand to David. Always does a good job in keeping us in line and on schedule, and also all your assistants. Usually I ask David to train some of our program directors so that one day he would pass on the torch and they could chair these meetings. That's Rhoda, Mary's girls, Dawn, and okay, I'm getting Marilyn. I was just teasing Mary because she was forgetting things. I guess we're getting old. Mabel is a dinosaur. So again, I'd like to thank all of you from the community to come and engage with us and listen to the reports from the staff on the important work that we've been doing. It is a lot of work, but it's work from the heart, and it's really helping your chief and councils rebuild the nations. And at this time, I really want to thank the chiefs and the councils for the work that they do, because it is not easy work for them at the community level as well. Looking back the last 30 years, we were thrust into poverty because of colonization. Before that, we had ample resources in our communities and in our lands. And because of the poverty, of course, a lot of different negative issues come into play, which really it challenges our spirit as one. And as Mary said, from our ancestors, our spirit is important. And together, collectively, our spirit will become stronger, and that our children for the future would not have to face the residential schools. They would not have to face racisms in the halls of service delivery, in the halls of justice. They don't have to be incarcerated at alarming rates across this country. And as First Nations people, we're probably just a little over 1 million in Canada. I'm not quite sure what the stat is, but 1 million in population of 33 million, we are one of a kind. As Mary would remind us, we are Indigenous people to this land, and we have allies that would help us give our message to our own allies here in Canada so that they would understand exactly what our history was and where we're going, because it is only us that can fix it. In the academic world, they call what we're doing social determinants of health, which means basically you need your education, you need your income, you need your housing, you need your medical in order to thrive. We call that holistic health. And we are the only ones that I know of as an agency employing that concept, and we're making it happen. So thank you to my staff for that as well. You've heard from health, all the exciting developments that are happening in health with the Foundry, with the Healing Center, which has been long overdue, which was actually, if you look at the Royal Commission reports, there were some elders at SICAs that requested for a healing center, and that was many years ago, and finally it's coming to fruition. Services for the youth, the Foundry projects, thank God for the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal funding, forcing Canada to open their purses so that these centers can be made available to many of our communities. And as Jason pointed out, we work very hard at CSFS to access the capital funding, because I know, being around for many years, that government can change their minds at the whim. So we take advantage as much as we can to access as much funding as we could. Much more work needs to be done in health. Cancer is a big issue, and I did lose a very good friend of mine to cancer. She was diagnosed 12 months ago, and it took her life. But she was a bright lady, very articulate, educated, and she didn't get the proper care. And I saw it firsthand. So patient quality care is one of our priorities moving forward, so that every one in the hospital gets treated with dignity and respect, regardless of color. When I was visiting my friend, it was some elderly white women that were in her room, and they were treated with disrespect by the nursing staff. Not to suggest all nurses are the same. There are some that should not be nurses. We do have some good caring nurses, and they're far and few in between. But I have witnessed some really poor care. The all-clan houses, I think, is going to be very exciting and pivotal. It's going to make sure that we have the necessary resources in our communities so that children who are in need of protection remain in the community with family and with their culture. And that comes with ensuring that we train people that could become foster parents, for lack of a better word, or clan parents, because we're going to have bigger standards, higher standards than that of what the ministry currently offers. And somebody mentioned Ronald McDonald House. Sandra Isaac actually went to visit them, and they're fabulous layouts. So we're replicating that type of layout in a clan houses so that the children thrive. Policing was an issue. Several years ago when I started, I tried initiating an Aboriginal police force, but of course, funding was not made available by the federal government, and I don't think that they've opened that door yet. When you look at across the country, there are Indigenous police forces in several different provinces, so it's nothing new, and it's not rocket science, really. Jason Morgan, the new kid on the block as an executive department, will be assisting in making sure that these capital projects run smoothly. Tracy and I had the experience of working with architects and the sub-trades and the consultants, and that is the worst kind of profession to deal with, because they're change orders, and you have to look at the change orders with a fine-tooth comb. Otherwise, they could gouge you. So now at least we know a little bit about construction management. So we'll help Jason move along that trail. And as an agency, of course, we always thrive to seek excellence in the treatment of our human resources, of our employees. If we compare them to any other agencies, the benefits that we provide our staff far outweighs that of any other entity, regardless if they're union or not. That is because we need to attract the best that could help us move mountains, as I heard yesterday. And that, again, thanks to the corporate services, communications, finance, and HR. Without a solid foundation with those corporate services, it would be much more challenging in moving forward. So, and finally, with Mary's presentation, it really worries me that politics would come into the fray after over 35 years of advocating for changes in the child welfare system. And yet, 35 years ago, there is nobody alongside with us to change policy and to ensure that funding was made available to do a good job that we could in a culturally appropriate way and based on quality standards. And today, of course, there's 47 billion. Everybody and their dog wants a piece of that pie. Where were they 35 years ago? And what concerns me is the fact that it's not being transparent. Only Ontario, Indigenous Services Canada, and the AFN National are going to be the ones that are going to be approving proposals for all other nations in Canada. I mean, is that democracy? I thought we were living in democracy when I woke up. So that's a huge issue. The inclusivity of the rest of Canada must be in the agreement. The other one that concerns me is the fact that right now the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal ordered Canada to pay child and family services expenses on a needs basis. That means it's open. So if it's going to cost the Healing Center $42 million, they must give us $42 million. If it's going to cost all the clan houses $100 million, they must. if it's going to cost our operations 60 million, 100 million, they must open that purse. What to me, and what I've read with the agreement is that that's closing the door and using a funding formula based on per capita, which has not worked. It has not worked in health, it has not worked in child and family services, it has not worked in housing. And in fact, Canada was taken to court because of their funding formula based on per capita. And now the AFN National, from what I understand, is reverting back to that same old. I mean, I think AFN should really give themselves a good look at all of the nations across the country, because we're not in the 1900s anymore. So I will be in Calgary, and I'll make sure that that my 2 cents is included in their debate based on our history and based on the years that we've been working on child and family services reform. But in closing, we need you at the community level to help us help you. So thank you, Masai.
Denise Zakaza Board of Directors, Dai, the chiefs of the communities and community members, and those of you online. Kai out at the end of the time of this soccer so we give thanks and we ask for the safety of all the travelers and for those that are going home, and all the good information that was shared by all of our directors and our staff, all the good work that happened yesterday and today. We thank all of you and ask for the safety again while you're traveling home. Be you again that not Disney Thai soccer top in health and all my relations, Messiah.
And now we'll have Cindy and Eugene come up and completely close us off with some singing. And here they are.
There's bingo at the Margaret Patrick Hall tonight, everyone. The more who come, the bigger the prize.
Just before we do the goodbye song, I really wanted to honor this young girl, Oakland. The day she was actually found, my wife and I had to leave that Sunday, and we got to Prince George, and as soon as we pulled in and we got the message that they found her, and I wanted to do the honor song, The Warrior, for Oakland. And I'm very, very happy and proud that she was found. And watching that video, the mother running up and grabbing her daughter, it just gave me that great feeling. And thank you to all the search and rescue that we have been out there with Kamloops, Comox, Terrace. They were great. They were very professional out there. And the team that we were with, my wife and I, Team 203 and 314, and they told us it was Team 613. It's the sections that the team were named, and I really honor them too, that they have found her. Thank you. This is a warrior song from the Frog Clan.
Yeah.
The last song is what we call the goodbye. Every time there's a major business, it always finishes up with the goodbye song. And yesterday, Mary mentioned a woman does twice the job and half the acknowledgement. So in honor of the lady that Warner just mentioned, Donna McIntyre, wanted to do the goodbye song for her. She was my old boss, and now I got new bosses, plural, 2 of them now. So I do twice the job and half the pay. Goodbye song. Everybody dance.
Masai, this is our tradition. This is our culture. This is what we can move ahead with all the nation. If we work together as one, we can move mountains, I said. We can do it for the young people that's behind us, for my great-granddaughter, Messiah Cho.